Power to the people, brothers and sisters. We're going to get started in approximately 3 minutes. All power to the people.
All power to the people.
Yeah.
All power to the people, brothers and sisters. Minister Rob, we could go ahead and commence the ceremony.
What do you mean connected?
I know I said commence.
Oh, commence. I'm sorry. I thought you said connect. Yeah, we absolutely can do that. Let me take care of the music real quick. The first duty of a revolutionary is to be educated. To be a Panther, we must understand our history, our political line, and strategies to overthrow our oppressors. Each week, students were assigned readings and videos to study, and we convened once a week to discuss the material, interpret and break down the core concepts, questions and answers, and to prepare for the next week's study materials. Each week, you were encouraged to bring the following: quotes from the material, questions you have, your interpretation of the material, core concepts, and most importantly, revolutionary spirit. Chairman Shaka, would you like to read the 10-point platform?
All power to the people. Thank you, Brother Minister. The New African Black Panther Party 10-point program and platform. 1, we want freedom. We want power to determine the destiny of our Black community. Number 2, we want full employment for our people. Number 3, we want an end to the robbery by the capitalists of our Black and oppressed communities. Number 4, we want decent housing, fit for the shelter of human beings. Number 5, we want education for our people that exposes the true nature of this decadent American society. We want education that teaches us our true history and our role in the present-day society. Number 6, we want completely free healthcare for all Black and oppressed people. Point number 7, we want an immediate end to police brutality and murder of Black people, other people of color, all oppressed people inside the United States. And number 8, We want an immediate end to all wars of oppression. Number 9, we want freedom for all Black and poor oppressed people now held in U.S. federal, state, county, city, military prisons and jails. We want trials by jury of peers for all persons charged with so-called crimes under the laws of this country. Number 10 is just a summarization. We want land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, peace, and people's community control of modern technology. All power to the people.
All power to the people. Chairman Jake, would you possibly be interested in reading the White Panther Party 10-point program?
All power. 1, full support for the 10-point program of the New African Black Panther Party. 2, total support for the United Front against imperialism and the struggles of oppressed people everywhere. 3, to teach the suppressed history of white people's opposition to racial oppression and genocide in America. 4, to uphold proletarian internationalism and the unity of the multinational, multi-ethnic U.S. working class against national and capitalistic exploitation and oppression. 5, to re-educate white brothers and sisters who have been deluded by racist white supremacist propaganda and ideology into opposing their own class interests. 6, to embrace the spirit of Panther love and serve the people in the capacity of revolutionary warriors. 7, to uphold the tradition of John Brown and others who have recognized that an injury to one is an injury to all, and that no one can be free while his brothers and sisters are in bondage. 8, to uphold revolutionary discipline and neither steal from, nor inform on, or in any other way oppress or exploit the people. 9, to be upright, honest, and fair in all dealings, to set a good example for youth and be respectful of elders in every way, strive to be the people's pride. 10, to stand for peace and against imperialist war, to stand for justice and against injustice, and to stand for revolution and against counter-revolution. All power.
All power to the people.
All power.
All power.
All power.
All power.
All power.
All power to the people, brothers and sisters.
power.
All power, all power. So I wrote, normally I don't write anything. I like to go extemporaneous, but I'm so proud of this class and the baptism of fire that these young comrades went through in the last few months, making sure that the continuity of the party goes forward. So I'm going to get into a little talk about some of that and overall the general thrust of the Panther Revolution. And when I get done, we're going to have some remarks by our captain, newly appointed captain for Newark, and then we're going to have the elder, as he should, take us out. We're going to give him all the time that he needs, and that's Comrade Crear, original Black Panther Party, a member out of Texas, worked in California, worked with Carl Hampton before he was assassinated. And that might surprise you, there was another Hampton in the party. Yes, he was. And he was only 21 years old, just like Fred Hampton. Not as well known as Fred Hampton, but to the revolutionary movement, those serious revolutionaries, they know who Carl Hampton was. So this is his comrade. Crear is going to talk about that and take us out. And then we're going to give out our diplomas, the little red book, and a T-shirt. The education committee would close us out with that. So let me go ahead and get into my talk. So I won't be long, but I definitely want to be strong. Pantherism, all power. Pantherism is the most advanced application of the science of revolution, based upon applying historical dialectical materialism to make concrete analysis of concrete conditions in the 21st century. Based upon the practice and theoretical contributions of the original Black Panther Party, founded in 1966 by Chairman Bobby Seale and Minister of Defense Huey P. Newton, the new African Black Panther Party was founded in 2005 by prisoners in various state and federal penitentiaries, including several incarcerated original Black Panther Party members. From the beginning, brothers and sisters, comrades, it was recognized that we were continuing the legacy of the original Black Panther Party. That we were continuing the legacy of the original Black Panther Party prison chapter, founded by Comrade George Jackson, who in his book, Blood in My Eye, 1971, emphasized, quote, realistic day-to-day needs should be the basis of organizing people and making them conscious of revolution, that the world, the universe must revolve, that it will stop, stagnate, and die for no man's privileges. He explained, brothers and sisters, that prisoners must be reached and made to understand that they are victims of social injustice. This is my task working from within while I'm here. My persuasion is that the war goes on no matter where one may find himself on bourgeois-dominated soil. The sheer numbers of the prisoner class and the terms of their existence make them a mighty reservoir of revolutionary potential, unquote. So brothers and sisters and comrades and students, we developed the strategy for transforming the razor wire plantations or the prisons into schools of liberation and the oppressed communities into base areas of cultural, social, and political revolution in the context of building a worldwide united front against capitalism, imperialism, racism, and police state repression. We did not immediately, and this is important, comrades, we did not immediately grasp the full scope of Huey's theory of revolutionary intercommunalism and how significant in advance it was, but we were awakening to it. The original Black Panther Party went through several stages of ideological political development, just like we did, as Comrade Huey explained. Quote, in 1966, we called our party a Black Nationalist Party. We called ourselves Black Nationalists because we thought that nationhood was the answer. Catch this, brothers and sisters. This is where it's going to get real into the meat of what revolutionary intercommunalism is all about. Shortly after that, we decided that what was really needed was revolutionary nationalism. That is, nationalism plus socialism. After analyzing conditions a little bit more, we found that it was impractical and even contradictory. Catch that. And think about what he's saying. Nationalism plus socialism. Is that a cocktail for reactionary disaster, or is an advancement on the revolutionary struggle? I can point to one period in recent history, and I'm sure a lot of y'all can point to a dozen others, where nationalism was attached to socialism, but it was a right-wing kind of nationalism plus socialism. And that we found that in where? We found it with Mussolini. We found it with Hitler. We found it with Papa Doc Duvalier. Although he didn't call his thing a socialist thing, but he called himself a black nationalist. So what I'm saying, so what you're saying is that so what you're saying is that it is contradictory. It is very contradictory to say that you want to have a socialist world, but you want to have boundaries and borders in place to restrict the passage of the people. You can't do that. So after analyzing the conditions a little bit more, Huey and the comrades found that it was impractical and even contradictory. Therefore, we went to a higher level of consciousness. We saw that in order to be free, we had to crush the ruling circle. Catch that. We had to crush the ruling circle. And therefore, we had to unite with the peoples of the world. So we called ourselves internationalists. We sought solidarity with the peoples of the world. We sought solidarity with what we thought were the nations of the world. But then what happened? We found that because everything is in a constant state of transformation, because of the development of technology, because of the development of the mass media, because of the firepower of the imperialists, because of the fact that the United States is no longer a nation, but an empire. Nations could not exist, for they did not have the criteria for nationhood. Catch that, man. Catch that. He's not saying that nations, in the sense where there's flags, where there's boundaries or borders, where you have international regulation of commerce and all that kind of that stuff exists. He's not saying none of that stuff exists. He is saying that nations nations in that do not control their own economic and political destiny are nothing but exploitative arenas for the imperialists, whether from France, Britain, Germany, and other Western dominant powers. Those folks that are in power in Africa and Latin America and the Caribbean are compradors. They're businessmen. They're like that cat that come knock on your door on Saturday and say, excuse me, do you want to buy some solar wind? And you say, excuse me, what is solar wind? Who are you working for? Oh, we're working for a company, et cetera, where we put a solar panel. That's a middleman. And that's what a president or a prime minister of Africa is. They're middlemen. They work with the big corporations. They work with the Wall Street bankers to open up the country to further exploitation. They reduce the people further to poverty by cutting away any kind of safety net systems that were in place after the anti-colonial struggle. This is only 40 years ago, where these cats was talking about free housing, free education, land to those who till it. This is only 47 years ago. And you look at Africa today, it is in worse shape than ever. Worse shape than ever. Every day there's a coup. Every day there's a bomb being dropped. So what Huey is saying is that the economic determination, the self-determination, the cultural determination has been transformed by the imperialists and the ruling circle. And they have made those countries into basket cases. So nobody is talking about nations don't exist. We had some folks sending us position papers. Oh, we don't necessarily agree with revolutionary intercommunalism because we see nations out there right now. Well, we do too. That's what makes us scientists, dialectical materialists. But we're saying that they are not nations that exist where they could control their own future. And anybody that disputes that is a fool. And I'm not being disparaging when I say that. So the cultural determination has been transformed by the imperialists. the self-determination, the economic determination. There were no longer nations. As here we go on to say, we found that in order to be internationalists, we had to be also nationalists, or at least acknowledge nationhood. Internationalism, if I understand the word, means the interrelationship among a group of nations. Catch that now, catch that, catch that. Remember what I said a few seconds ago, that here we never said that nations with a false flag and false border, economic bowls of exploitation don't exist. He never said that. He said that the advancement in the revolutionary struggle will be done amongst the people, not amongst the nations, because they are all beholden to Western imperialism. I don't care what kind of flag they have, whether it's red, black, and green, or red with a crescent star in the middle. So here we said internationalism, if I understand the word, means the interrelationship among a group of nations. But since no nation exists, and since the United States is in fact an empire, it is impossible for us to be internationalists. So this is where we make that connection. And this is where the students, when y'all go on in y'all studies, have to make that connection where you explain this philosophy to brothers and sisters around the country. Especially, don't waste your time with the revolutionary intelligentsia across the board, because they put this thing on the shelf in the 1970s. When they came out, they said, my gosh, what is this? This is revisionism. My God, this is blasphemy. That's why nobody dealt with this in history. Go back and look. Nobody dealt with revolutionary intercommunalism because they did not expand their understanding to the point where Franz Fanon said, when it comes down to Marx and Lenin and Mao, we have to expand it around our concrete conditions. And plus, at the time, and we're going to go on to that, the FBI was involved in messing things up. So here we go on to say, these transformations and phenomena require us to call ourselves intercommunalists, because nations have been transformed into communities of the world. People, community, people, synonym. We put in a synonym right after communities. Communities, people of the world. The Black Panther Party now disclaims internationalism and supports intercommunalism, unquote. Speech at Boston College, 1970. Huey's theory, brothers and sisters, a revolutionary intercommunalism broke new ground in the development of Marxism, Leninism, Maoism. Now catch this now. Catch this now. I'm going to make this connection. I'm going to draw it up like a brother and sister sitting on an old porch in a rocket chair, making a quilt. I'm going to put it together real nice. Huey's theory of revolutionary intercommunalism broke new ground in the development of Marxism, Leninism, Maoism. Huey piggyback. Here it is. I'm making that connection now. I'm making that connection. Huey piggyback off of Mao's analysis. Catch this. How did Huey break new ground in the development of Marxism, Leninism, Maoism? We're not saying that Huey should be on a Mount Revolutionary Rushmore. We're not saying that. We're not saying that there's a fourth wing of Marxism that Huey developed. We're not even saying that. We're saying that Huey developed an analysis capable of reaching the masses at this point in time in history. That's it. That's it. That's it. I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, Huey, this. No, we're saying that Huey piggybacked off of Mao's analysis. Quote, at present, the world revolution has entered a great new era, said Mousy Tongue. The Black struggle, the struggle of the Black people in the United States for emancipation is a component part of the general struggle of all the people of the world against U.S. imperialism, a component part of the contemporary world revolution. Quote, a new storm against imperialism, 1968. Now here it is. This is why it's necessary that Huey and revolutionary intercommunalism play a leading role in this struggle. Mao firmly maintained that, quote, the evil system of colonialism and imperialism arose and drove with the enslavement of Negroes and the trade in Negroes, and it will surely come to its end with the complete emancipation of the Black people. All power to the people. All power to the people. So, brothers and sisters, you see here, for Black people, we have to act as a catalyst in this global revolution. We have to act as a catalyst in this global revolution. So we need a vanguard party rooted wherever poor and working class Black people are concentrated. Whether they are in America, Mother Africa, or the African diaspora. This party needs to inspire and a third, and I'm going to say it, a third rainbow coalition of all the oppressed and the proletarian communities to work together to build a broad revolutionary united front. So what do we want from the students that are graduating today? We want you to align yourselves with the Panther Revolution and to take part in the class struggle on the side of the proletariat. As Comrade Frank Hampton laid out so eloquently, quote, when the party started to talk about class struggle, we found that we had to start talking about some guns. If we never negated the fact that there was racism in America, but we said that when you, the byproduct, what comes off of racism, that capitalism comes first, and next is racism. That's why they brought slaves over here. It was to make money. So first, the idea came that we want to make money. Then the slaves came in order to make that money. That means that capitalism had to, through historical fact, racism had to come from capitalism. It had to be capitalism first, and racism was a byproduct of that, unquote. It's a class struggle, God damn it. 1969, Fred Hampton. So you see, brothers and sisters, comrades, and we probably got some enemies listening on our live streams. The party had to start talking about guns, because when you talk about the class struggle, you're talking about redistributing the socially, catch this now, when you talk about class struggle, you're talking about redistributing the socially produced wealth and overturning the status quo of private ownership of the means of production and the privilege of the ruling class. The simple truth is that we already have the resources and technology to provide everyone on the planet with a decent standard of living. Decent housing, decent health care, free education, healthy food, and more than that, clean air and safe drinking water. We can reverse global warming and eliminate our dependence on burning fossil fuels. We can eliminate wars and poverty altogether. We could do these things right away if we get the rich class off our goddamn backs. All power to the people. All power to the people.
All
Of
power to
course.
the people.
All power to the
All
people.
power to the
Power to the
people.
people.
All
All power to the
All
people.
power to the
All
people.
power
All
to the
power to
people.
the people.
All
All
power.
power to the people. Of course, brothers and sisters, all power. Of course, brothers and sisters and comrades. Chairman Fred understood that we have to first get organized and build our power in the communities where we live. In another speech that same year, he said, quote, "We ain't gonna fight no reactionary pigs who run up and down the street being reactionary. We're going to organize and dedicate ourselves to revolutionary political power and teach ourselves the specific needs of resisting the power structure, arm ourselves, and we're going to fight reactionary pigs with international proletarian revolution." That's what it has to be. The people have to have the power. It belongs to the people, unquote. Power anywhere there's people. Fred Hampton, 1969. Comrades, brothers and sisters, battles, wars, and revolutions are won or lost before they are fought. Catch that? Catch that? Battles, wars, and revolutions are won or lost before they are fought. Sun Tzu, the ancient Chinese sage who wrote, quote, The Art of War, explained that, quote, "To secure ourselves against defeat lies in our own hands, but the opportunity of defeating the enemy is provided by the enemy himself." Catch that, brothers and sisters? Catch that? I'm trying to tie this thing in like a nice, beautiful quilt. Catch what I'm saying? Battles, wars, and revolutions are won or lost before they are fought. Sun Tzu, the ancient Chinese sage who wrote, quote, The Art of War, explained that, quote, "To secure ourselves against defeat lies in our own hands, but the opportunity of defeating the enemy is provided by the enemy himself," unquote. The monopoly capitalist ruling class are their own worst enemies. It is they who drive the people to resist and ultimately overthrow them. The job of all the new students and some of our long brothers and sisters who's been in the revolution, who perhaps are a little bit comfortable, I shall remind everyone, the job of a revolutionary is to make people politically conscious. I'm gonna say it one more time. The job of a revolutionary is to make the people politically conscious, to agitate against injustice and fan the flames of resistance. To agitate against injustice and fan the flames of resistance. To educate and arm the people with revolutionary science. That's your job. That's your job. If you don't want to do this work, get out of the way. Do like Malcolm X said. You scared of the word revolution? Get in the basement. Stop talking revolution. Stop talking struggle. Don't tell me you want to be a revolutionary, but you don't want to agitate. You don't want to fan the flames. You don't want to sit out there and educate. And you don't want to give the people the revolutionary signs, but you want us to look at you and say, "Great work, comrade." This is what Ho Chi Minh talked about. Ho Chi Minh said that when revolutionaries achieve a great thing, they must not become too excited that they rest on their laurels and they see everybody else as owing him something. No, the job of a revolutionary is to get out there 24/7 and make people conscious. We have to organize community-based people's power and intercommunal solidarity. We recognize that it is the masses alone who have the power to shape the course of history, and that the people, the power of the people, can defeat those in power. More than that, they can seize the time right now to remake human society on a new foundation, brothers and sisters, a new foundation of equality and social justice for all. I'm not going to be too much longer. All power to the people. I'm not going to be too much longer, brothers and sisters, but I just have a few more words. I'm so, excited and happy for this new class. I think we got a good batch of cadre that's going to go into their communities and do this work. So I'm going to finish my talk and we're going to move on to the ceremony. So what we want from new students is to align yourself with the Panther Revolution in uplifting the oppressed communities, not just participating in school functions, not just participating in ceremonial activities. It's African Liberation Day, so let me go ahead, pull out my old flag, put a button on my jacket, and attend a march somewhere. That's cool if you feel motivated to do something like that, and that's a great contribution, but we want comrades that do more than just put on their jacket and put a button on there when they are moved by desire. We want cats to be out there 24/7. So the work have to be done through a process of self-reliance of the masses and help them to collectivize their struggle for survival, creating cooperatives, social programs, a guerrilla economy, so to speak, that is both legal and above ground and off the grid and somewhat underground. You understand what I'm saying? Brothers and sisters, I'm speaking in a way where I'm trying to explain a whole lot in a very short time. So let me explain what is this dual power strategy that I'm talking about when I talk about the guerrilla economy that is both legal and above ground and off the grid and underground that will finance the people's struggle, survival programs, and institutions of people power that will create a situation of dual power in the communities. So it is by this strategy of dual power that we will defeat the capitalist imperialists. Because as we grow stronger through building our unity, they will continue to grow weaker because of their internal contradictions and the perfect storm of crisis they have created and cannot resolve. So our struggle is a protracted struggle waged on the broadest scale possible to put the people's strength against their imperialist weakness. Catch that, brothers and sisters. So whenever that job turkey come to you talking that nonprofit thing, all you have to sit back and say, excuse me, how does your social service program relate to the broad freedom of oppressed people in this community? I see you giving out food here and there, or I see you giving out some socks and toothbrush and toothpaste to our houseless brothers and sisters. But how does that transform into inspiring them, empowering them to become agents of transformation? And when they start talking that job talk, you say, well, our strategy is to build the people up through survival programs, that will confront the capitalist imperialists, that will throw them into the trash heap of history. And that's how you defeat that stuff. And all of you have studied history, revolutionary history. especially going through that 11-week course, and you see how buildings, survival programs around the world is a precondition for the seizure of power by the revolutionary vanguard. You can't seize power, revolutionary, true, authentic socialist power, without the incorporation of the masses. Forget that stuff of coups and all that nonsense. So our objective is cultural, social, and political revolution. This requires a revolutionary people so they can make a revolution. They have to be armed with the most advanced revolutionary theory. They have to create a revolutionary vanguard party based on application of this theory and the People's Liberation Army under the party's command. Make no mistake about that. And our code of conduct talk about the only army that any Black Panther, Brown Panther, White Panther can join is the People's Liberation Army or the Black Liberation Army. That's in our code of conduct and in our principles as revolutionaries broadly. We know where hell we should be joining the imperialist army to drop bombs on villages and blowing up men, women, and children for Raytheon, McDonnell Douglas, and all these nasty futuristic companies. So we need a liberation army, but it needs to be under the party's command. And we have to build the broadest united front imaginable. We have to take a little bit of what the Palestinians did, brothers and sisters, when they came together to launch their struggle to free themselves from the Zionist enemy on October the 7th. They all sat together and said, 5 or 6 different organizations. The media tell you it's Hamas, but you got the Popular Liberation Front, Islamic Jihad, you got Hamas, and you got some other groups. They all came together, built a broad unity for a whole year before they launched their insurgency. So what I'm saying to you, brothers and sisters, we have to build a broad, united front, unite all who could be united at each stage of the struggle. The student, the prisoner, and the worker must actively play roles in building this broad, united front. Back in the day, brothers and sisters, the enemy FBI director, J. Edgar Hoover, dubbed the original Black Panther Party free breakfast program, quote, the greatest threat to national security, unquote. You know why? You know why, brothers and sisters? Because it brought the party and the masses together. They saw socialism, cooperative solutions to their problems that were created by capitalism every day. They saw the Panther food program. I'm not going to go into all that, but that's why we got the elder on. He's going to explain that stuff. But I'm going to conclude right here. I have much more that I would like to say, but I'm going to conclude with this last piece on the mass line and why I think that comrades need to apply this thing. So the mass line is the quote. This is Mao Zedong. And I'm not going to I'm just going to read the quotes here, brothers and sisters, that I put, and I'm not going to get too deep into flushing this stuff out now because it'll take a couple of hours, probably days, years the way that things, change so much. So, quote, the mass line is the primary method of revolutionary leadership of the masses, which is employed by the most conscious and best organized section of the masses, the proletarian party. It is a reiterative method. Okay, now, it's a big word. All that means is it goes in a constant process, same circle. You do it over and over and over. Theory, practice, theory, practice, theory, practice. That's all reiterative means. It is a reiterative method applied over and over again. This is the mass line now, brothers and sisters, which step by step advances the interests of the people, and in particular, the essential interests within bourgeois society, namely, advancing the world proletarian socialist revolution. So, brothers and sisters, after each iteration may be viewed as a three-step process. One, gathering the diverse ideas of the masses. This is the students. When you go out there, you talk to the people, you got your clipboard, you answer them questions, they answering you questions on the issue of the day. You're gathering the diverse ideas of the people. That's the first stage of learning what are the issues affecting the people. And then you move on to the second stage. This is the processing or concentrating of these ideas from the perspective of a revolutionary. Let me read that one more time. Number two is that process where you take the raw material, which is the diverse ideas of the masses, and you concentrate it into ideas from a perspective of being a revolutionary in light of the long-term ultimate interest of the people. And brothers and sisters, you're not being dictatorial or commanders when you say to yourself, that brother or that sister may not see what I'm saying.
Comrade, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Elder John said that he's got to go. So
okay.
if we could just give him the floor real quick to, say what he came here to say, I think that we should respect his time.
All power to the people. All power to the people. And I apologize, brothers and sisters. Go ahead, Elder John, and thank you for coming. And we'll get into my talk on another day. All power to the people. Go ahead, Comrade.
Yeah, well, first thing I want to say is that, it's all good to talk about intercommunalism. When Huey came out with revolutionary intercommunalism, I was looking at that time, even comrades in the party, it took a long time for them to understand. Because you have to understand, Huey was a theoretician. That was different between Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale, because Bobby Seale could break it down to the people. And that's what you have to do. But I'm going to introduce myself. I was a member of the Black Panther Party for 10 years. I joined the party in Houston, Texas. I transferred to Oakland, where I became head of the photography department for the Black Panther Party. After that, I became Bobby Seale's personal assistant everywhere Bobby went. And in 1977, I went to Las Vegas. In fact, there's a film getting ready to come out. It's called Across the Tracks, the story of Las Vegas West Side, which was a Black community. In 1977, I went to Las Vegas and established a chapter of the Black Panther Party there. But all I want to say is this: it's just like Chairman Miles said, you cannot have a revolution without organizing the people, and you can't organize people by talking rhetoric. You have to come down to their level. I'll tell you one thing that Huey said. Huey said he couldn't understand that he would talk to somebody and he could see it as clear as his hand, and people wouldn't understand it. And he had to realize he had to come down to their level. And that's the thing about the party. It's just like the party. A lot of people they stuck on the party and leather jackets with guns, but that was what the party started. Was the party for the name of the party was the Black Panther Party for self-defense, because we said we had the right to defend ourselves. The black people had the right to defend ourselves, but we got rid of the guns, and a lot of people like uniforms. We didn't walk around with uniforms on. You might have, if you see, like I said, if you go to the Free Huey rallies or the New York 21, but if you look at most of the pictures of comrades, and we dressed like the people because we were from the people. And that's what we wanted them to understand. And like, it was a woman, she's a historian professor. She saw a picture of me and this other guy. She said, y'all were sharp, because if you look at pictures of Huey and Bobby, when they were in the black, they wore their black leather coats, a collared shirt, dress pants, and because our whole thing was, how can you tell people you trying to pull them up and you look like you need help? You walk around with t-shirts and jeans and stuff on. So we always were sharp, and we dressed like the people because we were of the people. And so that's the thing. It's so much stuff thrown around. It's like a lot of stuff is symbolism. People, all the buttons and all the stuff. That's great. But all that is symbolism. And like Army, I mean, that's why I said it was a Black man for self-defense. We got thrown off track with crazy ass Eldridge Cleaver running around talking about, had us running around talking about off the pig and all this. Huey and Bobby never envisioned standing up to the United States Army or the police. We believed in armed revolution. We always had guns. We had more guns, but here, so we putting away our guns. Like I mean, how many shit we had? 50 caliber machine guns, bazooka stuff, but it wasn't out in front. I see all these people, they walk around with guns. What the fuck you gonna do? You think you can stand up to? No. Like we said, it's a protracted struggle. It goes from A to Z. When Mao Zedong and the Red Army, if you haven't heard about the Long March, it wasn't a long march to victory. It was a long march of retreat in order to survive. And they eventually were victorious. So, I mean, you got to pick your spots, and you got, and like I said, you have to come down to people's level. I'll give you an example. I was with a comrade selling the Black Panther Party newspaper. My comrade, he was talking all this ready when the brother said, man, I don't want to watch the paper. And then you know what I said? I said, did you see that Oilers game the other day? The football game. Oh, man, that was a great game. Yeah, What's I got it? He said, man, give me one of them papers. You know what I'm saying? The rhetoric, it don't get you nowhere. It's all right when you're preaching to the choir, but it don't get you nowhere. When you're dealing with the people, you have to come down to their level. And then you have to bring them up to your level. And that's one thing about the programs, because we were being slaughtered. One thing the programs brought us closer to people. It served a purpose, feeding and medical and stuff, but it brought the people closer to us, where they saw that we were just like them. We came from the community just like them. We had mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, uncles, aunts. I mean, when the newspaper came in Houston, where we had an office in Fort Ward, and interviewed all these senior citizens, and they were shocked what they got, because the seniors said that one woman told we were like angels sent from heaven, because she said we fed the kids, we came and looked after them, and they were shocked. That's one of the things that the programs do with us, and that's why you have to come just like they are. You can't go around talking rhetoric. You can't go around, because right out they get turned off. You have to come to whatever level they're at and bring them up. Just like I said, Huey said, he couldn't understand. He said he could see it as clear as day. He could see what he was talking about and couldn't understand why people didn't understand what he was talking about. And just like revolutionary intercommunalism, I mean, that was in 1970. Like I say, he was a theatrician. I have a friend. His name is John Harris. He don't remember. He became CEO of Nestle's Corporation Europe. And a few years ago, he sent me an email. He said one thing that Huey got right was revolutionary intercommunalism. Because it's happening, because the only thing different is the reactionaries call it globalization. You know, because Huey said that it's going. This is in 1970. Huey says it's going to become a time when you can find out what's going on around the world within seconds, within minutes. That the globe is
all power to the people. All power to the people.
One intercommunalism. Like I say, the reactionaries and the capitalists, well, what is it? They call it globalization. You know, so and you know, I want to say to the graduates, can they speak or ask questions? The graduates.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead and
Yeah, well, I'd like to get questions
Minister
from them, but I just want to say this, and to all youth and all that I appreciate and want to thank them, because wherever I go, you know, youth or adults, they'll tell me thank you for your service, thank you for everything you did. But I'll tell them we had the 55th anniversary of the of the Free Breakfast Program in Oakland a few years back, and we gave away breakfast that morning. I mean, it was a large crowd, and we went to the library. This young sister came up to me. She was from Alabama, and she was a student at UC Berkeley. And she came up to me and she had tears in her eyes and she said, "Thank you." But I mean, she almost had me crying. But like I told her, and like I tell all the young people, I want to thank you, because if you're not doing something to continue the struggle, then everything we did, everything we worked hard for, because it was hard work. It was 24/7. Black Panther Party members didn't have a job, and then you got off and it was Black Panther. It was 24/7. And it was hard work. During the existence of the party, we lost 32 comrades. And comrades went to prison, some are still in prison. So I want to thank all the youth. I want to thank everybody on this thing. If it wasn't for you continuing, everything that we fought for, died for, went to prison for, would be for nothing. So, you know, you just send me a list of questions, but I'd like to hear from the graduates.
All right, if you would like to ask a question, just raise your hand in the chat and I will call on you. Comrade Joe, you can go.
Yes, Comrade Elder John Bunchy. You said you're mentioning that you was in Oakland and stuff like that, and I wanted to see how long you've been in Oakland, because some of the elder Brown, and I'm a Brown Beret. My name is Joe Gonzalez, comrade. So sorry for not to introduce myself, but some of the older cats, the Brown Berets, said that the Black Panthers there.
Hold on a second, dogs.
Hold on. I'll give it a second. Oh, some of the elder Brown Beret cats there in Oakland said that it was the Black Panthers there in Oakland that helped them get their first uniforms. And you had made a comment earlier, like going dressed in plain clothes.
Right.
I wear my uniform with pride, and we get recognized as such, especially when we're doing security, because you got to know who's who. But I did respect what you were saying. You have to, you know.
Well, let me say this. I'm talking about the Black Panther Party. We the only time we wore our uniforms that we were going to a funeral or a special event, because you know, I understand you wear your uniform with pride, and I understand. I'm in Houston. It's Brown Berets here.
Yes.
In fact, when we had our last event for Carl Hampton, who was murdered by the Houston police, and on July 26, 1997, they came and they spoke. In fact, we had an Azteca dance group that performed. But what I'm saying is, you don't have to wear your uniform everywhere.
Yes.
You know, because people, I understand they recognize you, but let me tell you something. the Black Panther Party had thousands of members, 40 chapters, and I see people now. They have some. You got 10 people there, 15 people there. Like we said, it's power of the people. That's the only thing that these capitalists respect. If you can't get, and the way you get people out, you don't come with rhetoric. You explain to them what they're, and you got to come with something that's going to let them know, because people are in need. You got to come with something that tells them how you going to pull them out of whatever situation they're in. You know, it's like people struggle. I mean, just like all this crime and stuff going on, it's going to get worse because of this capitalist system. I mean, the rate between the rich and poor has been accelerating at the highest rate in history for years. And so now they want to talk about mental illness. Like, yeah, it's mental illness. In Houston right now, the eviction rate is higher than it's ever been. You know, homelessness is higher than it's ever been. I'm gonna tell you, I can tell a story. I remember when I was in Oakland, I was head of photography. Erica Huggins, which at that time she was working with the paper. This guy came over from San Francisco, and he said it was an older black man living in a car in this lot. He said he didn't know what it was, where exactly it was. He told us the area. Well, me and Erica got in the car. We went over to San Francisco. We went block to block. And sure enough, we saw this Volkswagen in Miller's lot, and it was an elderly black man living in that. And we were shocked. We were shocked. You know, Erica asked him why, and he said, Erica said, how come you're not getting your Social Security? And he said, because they told me I don't have an address. But my point is this. This was in 1974, and we were shocked. Now it's tens of thousands of people living on the street, and they're not all drug addicts. You know, there's a lot of families stuff living on the street. And but my point is another thing is one thing everybody got to come. Just like you got a group here that deals with the homeless. They feed 100 people maybe a night, and that's good. And you have people. But we got to stop with the fluff thing. We got to get everybody to come together. You got homeless. You got human trafficking. You know, the justice system is a beautiful system here. Gloria Rubeck, who is abolitionist of the death penalty, and that's all good. But everybody needs to come together and realize where it's coming from. It's coming from this capitalist system. You know, and if everybody get together and realize that, just like the minimum wage has been $7.35 at national for 20 years, you know, ain't nobody fighting to raise that. If a person, I know people, and seriously, they're working 2 jobs. I know some working 3 jobs, single parents. Then you complain about what people leaving their children at home. You can solve a lot of stuff if you paid people a living wage. If you go back to the 10-point platform and program, we said full employment, but we talking about employment with a wage where you can take care of yourself. You know, and so I mean, but all I'm saying, the point of our uniform, we didn't walk around in uniform everywhere we went. You know, because we were part of the community. You know, now it's all right if you having a rally or you having an event or whatever, because like I said, we did that. But a lot of times, like you see, you might get a lot of support, but at the same time, it turn people off. Just like the Jehovah's Witness when I was little, my mom would tell me, "Turn the TV off." Because you already knew who they were. And the same thing, just like I'm gonna tell you another situation with the programs, the people, ideas. One of my assignments in Houston was to go around and collect donations from stores for the breakfast program. You didn't have to give money. Some gave a case of milk, a case of orange juice, a case of eggs, whatever. But what I would always do, I would go over to the Allen Parkway projects, and I would take some of the kids with me because they had never been out of that community. So one day I'm over there, and this guy, his wife's name was May. I'll never forget her. He runs up and he says, "I don't want my kids around that Black Panther Party shit." And he came like he was going to take. His wife jumped in front of me He grabbed her, told our kids, "What's wrong with you?" A few days later, I'm going down the street. His car broke down in the street. I stopped and helped. After that, we was like partners. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, we come from the community. You have to come down. Anyway, well, we can go to the next question, but that's what I'm saying. We didn't walk around. I'm telling you this. We didn't walk around with. If you look at any pictures of party members after the first few years, you don't see nobody in no uniform. Even Huey Newton, you didn't never see him in a leather jacket anymore, or bicycle anymore, or in fact, sometimes we wore suit and ties according to where we were going to, because then we could blend in with community.
Yes, and then that's another key point that I got out of you. As long as you look presentable, and that's what you're trying to present, you know, a representation of somebody worth listening to. And I'll be quiet to let somebody else talk. But one last thing,
Well, that's what the pimps and the drug dealers do. They come, they look, and the youngsters say, "Well, shit, I want to be like them." They look, they got something.
Yeah, that's
you know what I'm saying. So that's what you have to the counter thing. It's just like with you. Like I said, you have to do the same thing that we should do. Just like they could put out this information, we put out this information. You know what I mean? Or I'll tell you about another white brother, James Madison, lived in Berkeley, hippie's hippie. You know what I mean? You go over there, you get some of the best drugs you ever get. And what we did, convince him to shave his hair, put a suit and tie on, and we'd send him in the city hall, the police department, whatever, to get information that they wouldn't give to us because we walk in there, it's a red flag.
Yeah.
You know, but here's this white boy with a suit on, clean hair, looking clean. He could get whatever he wanted to. So you have to do the same thing that they do. You know? And you have to be, I like to say it regular. I remember one time it was this young brother. So we had a storefront on Dowling Street, and it was like beer joints. And it was one that was vacant, and this young man, about 14 years old, was living in one of them. And we were feeding him everything. I remember one day, I look out there, and the police out there, and so I walked down there and asked them, "What's going on?" That's what I'm saying. You I gotta say, dress like normal, because I walk down there, I go to the police. Well, what's going on? Oh, there's some kid living here. Somebody calling. I said, "You got a cigarette?" He said, "Yeah." He gave me a cigarette. I said, "You got a light?" He gave me a light. And everything. We told you. So he asked who my name is. I said, "My name is Ricky." Everything. So about a month later, I get arrested. And these police, they walk me through the police. Yeah, we got one of them pamphlets. So the same one that was outside for that boy, he said, "What's his name?" They said his name was John Crear. What? He told me his name was Ricky. Then he said, "Yeah, Tricky Ricky." So I saw what I'm saying. You have to be just like them, you know, just like they come up, they infiltrated. You have to be just like them. You can't do that walking around with a uniform on, you know. And he didn't know who I was. He didn't know I was a Panther. Would have gave me a cigarette, lit my cigarette, told me what was going on. So that's all I'm saying is you have to be like you from the community, not march around with a uniform on and you know. Anyway, Minister Zen, I got a question.
All power. Thank you, Elder. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is awesome. My name's Trisha. I'm the Minister of Human Rights. And I just received an excellent question from Rob Rich, our Minister of Justice. He asked what you think of the historical significance of the March Against the DNC in Chicago and how it affected the party in '68 and how we should approach it today. All power.
Well, the thing about it is that was all set up anyway. I mean, one of the things that came out according to a pro, and one of the things I want to say this to all the so-called black nationalists and talk about white folks. One thing, if it wasn't for some white folks, Underground Railroad would have never happened. John Brown was white. The COINTELPRO came out because some brave, if you never seen them, it's a movie documentary, some brave young white folks broke into the FBI office. That took a lot of courage. You know, people want to talk about COINTELPRO, but I want to mention, like we just said, when one thing that came out of COINTELPRO was that Richard Nixon, 3 days before he was inaugurated to be president, called J. Edgar Hoover and told him, I want you to make the number one priority is to destroy the Black Panther Party. He didn't say make it a priority. He said the number one priority. That's like what people come up. That's why a lot of these professors, they come with, well, the Black Panther Party, you had internal this. No, it was the goddamn U.S. government. It came from the top. It came from the president, CIA, FBI. They brought everything against the Black Panther Party. But I mean, but the whole thing with I was in high school when it happened, but everybody saw it. But all that stuff was a setup like everything else. So that's the thing about how the party got hijacked by Eldridge Cleaver, is that Huey was in prison. Bobby Seale was in and out of jail. David Huey was left in charge of the party, but he let Eldridge co-opt the party. I saw an interview with Eldridge Cleaver. He said, well, I ain't about no free breakfast program. I ain't about no health clinics. I'm about revolution. Come on now. So it went that way. So I don't know if you've ever seen the film Black Panther Party Vanguard of the Revolution, and it shows where him and Huey on national TV, and that's when Huey expelled him. But one thing is because Eldridge was talking about party business outside the party. That's a no-no. But Huey was already pissed off with him, because just like in that thing, he said, you the one that caused the death of little Bobby Hutton. Because Eldridge, the Mumford Act had passed saying you could not carry arms, open arms, and he gets little Bobby Hutton, David Hilliard, and some other comrades. They go out looking for the police with arms. Little Bobby Hutton gets killed. Eldridge comes out from up under the house butt naked. So it took the party in the wrong direction. Because that's the thing about people get confused about revolution. People think about, just like I said about the Long March, but this is not China, this is not Cuba, and this is not the end. Just like Comrade said, revolution is a protracted struggle. And it's a place, as Huey said, the gun is just a tool, just like the hammer is a tool. If you're trying to nail something in a wall, you don't get a screwdriver, you get a hammer. When it's time to defend yourself, you get a gun. It's a tool. It's not revolutionary, as he said it's not revolutionary. That's just a tool. And people get hung up on things. They think revolution is just, okay, arms. It'll get to that point, but believe me, it's a long way away. And this is the belly of the beast. And just like people think, and it's going to happen. It's just like the Roman Empire, the greatest empire in the world. It took 400 years, but it eventually fell. And it fell from within because of all the outside, just like the brothers and sisters in Niger and the countries where they pull away from the French. That's going to continue to happen. Or they got this new monetary system where they're trying to get away from the dollar, or China. The only reason, and it's all economic, the only reason they talking about TikTok, just like they did with the phone thing, Huawei, they talk, well, they got, no, because their technology is more advanced. It's going to, or this, they got this car, BYD or whatever, this Chinese car that sells for like $10,000, electric car. And they talking about, it sells everywhere, but here, because it would put Tesla and a lot of people not out of business, but it would hurt them economically. So everything boils down to economics. It ain't about they gonna spy on us and us. No, it's about saving these capitalists right here. But it's going to happen. I won't live to see it, because like I said, it's a protracted struggle. But it's going to happen, and people have to stay strong in that belief and continue. Because one thing, a lot of young people, and I'm 72 years old, and I'm still pissed, and I'm still frustrated. A lot of young people get frustrated. Oh well, people not listening. But you got to keep at it. You got to keep plugging. You know, it's just like in dialectics. I mean, the same thing with intercommunalism. I remember in college reading Das Kapital. You know, I couldn't get to the whole thing. You know, I got the basics, dialectics of materialism, which I
Oh,
still live
Palmer.
by today.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, or if I keep it right here, I can go grab it right now. The four essays a mile. I live out by that because it breaks down contradictions on, you know, it's about everyday life. You know, even though he was talking to the Red Army, he was talking about how you conduct yourself. You know, and he talked about, you know, the forces of dialectics and all that stuff. So, and you know, and so, you know, it's always contradictions. It's always struggle. Sometimes you get frustrated. But just like say in dialectic, it's a positive and negative to everything, and everything in life, in your personal relationships, your financial relationships. But what you have to do is not get frustrated and say, well, okay, well, I'm gonna keep pushing that positive, and if you keep pushing that positive, you'll get out of whatever situation you're in.
All power. Any other questions?
Yeah, and I want to also just congratulate the folks that graduate from the class, and so you got to take what you get from the class and apply it to a practical. Uh, you know, you have to make a practical application, because, like they say, theory without practice is nothing. And that's one thing about the Black Panther Party. We made a lot. We were young. I joined the party at 19. It was some little Bobby Hudson joined at 16. He was killed at 17. And Bobby was what, 28, and he was probably about 25 when they started the party. We were young and we made mistakes. But the thing about it is that we didn't talk. We didn't talk rhetoric. Whatever we said, we did. You know, and it might not have worked out, but then you learn from that. But we did. We didn't just talk about. I mean, it's just like people. You see people in they got red, black, and green on from head to toe. You know, they might have an ankh on their chest big as a Flavor Flav's clock, and but they ain't gonna bust a grape. I'm all about the, you know. So you got to do. That is symbolism, just like the buttons and the pins and all that. That's symbolism. You have to put it in practice. You have to do.
All power to the people. Beautiful. All power.
All power. PantherQueen, you have the floor.
All power to the people. Thank you, Comrade Bunchy, for coming through. I did meet you through Auntie Catherine Campbell when I went out to Oakland. But I have a question for you. So would you say that political power flows through the barrel of a gun, or not?
Oh, it does. But it's who's controlling the gun. That's what that statement is about. It's just like in the
Okay.
South when segregation, all those laws was on the books. The civil rights movement was about the laws. The
Right.
laws was all on the way to the books. All people created equal, but who controlled the guns? The Ku Klux Klan. The sheriff was Ku Klux
Right.
Klan. The mayor was Ku Klux Klan. The governor was Ku Klux Klan. So they control the
Mm-hmm.
guns. So it does control, but it's the time and the place. They control the guns. So I mean, yeah, it does. But we're not at that point. That's what I'm saying. And that's
Okay.
what Huey was saying. Huey
Right.
was
Right.
saying that. I mean, that's what the Black Panther Party is for. The Black Panther Party for self-defense. I mean,
Right.
every case where there was an attack on a Black Panther Party office and a shootout, and they don't mention this, everybody was acquitted. They got charged for assault and police, but they were all acquitted because what they was doing was defending their home or their office. Like in LA, the
Mm-hmm.
41st and Central, it was a 5-hour shootout. You know,
Yeah.
but the police blew open the door, and when they blew open the door, the comrades opened fire on them. They tried to come in through the sunlight. Comrades opened fire on them. They were acquitted, all
Yeah.
acquitted. The New York 21 was accused of all kind of stuff. They were acquitted. But it's a time and place for everything. Like I said, Huey said, the gun is just a tool. You're not going to go and you think we can go stand up against the United States Army? No, no, they'll wipe you out. It's like people walk around now and see people. Why are you doing it? I see people posting stuff. I just got a shipment of 2,000 rounds in, or they have laying out all these guns. What the fuck you doing? You're exposing yourself, and they don't give a fuck.
Right.
They can come get you anytime. They can come and get you anytime they want to. Believe me, you know. And so
they self-incriminating themselves.
Yeah, the power does come out. Right, that's what they're doing, you know. And the thing about it, yeah, power does come out out the barrel of a gun, but it's a time and place. I mean, it's you have to when you have the advantage. Just like I said, the party never gave up on. We had plenty of guns. Here we just said we putting our guns away. You know, we're not marching around with them. We're not exposing them. But if you come fuck with us, we ready. I mean, in the Black Panther Party, like I said, 24/7, somebody was up in all our offices, all our facilities, day round. You know, you out there working the field all day long. You come home, you had to study, you eat, you had to study. We studied every day, you know, and then you go to sleep, you know, and somebody taps you on the shoulder, say, hey, it's your turn. Because we took 3-hour rounds. Somebody was always up to defend the office. You know, we had that for defense. It wasn't to go out there and we're going to shoot it out with the police. That's crazy.
And Auntie told me that you guys had to actually learn how to use the weapon. Also, you didn't just put them out there and tell them, here, go the gun, go use it. They had to be trained on how to use it.
Right. That's like the day, you know, you see all these children on the street. They found 30 rounds. Ain't nobody been hit because they don't know what the hell they doing. They just got a gun. Shooting everywhere. Hitting innocent people, bystanders. They don't know what the fuck they doing.
All right.
Thank you, Elder. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Power.
Okay. You in Houston now? You in Houston
now?
No,
I just left Houston. I'm in Tennessee now. I just left Houston like a few days ago.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, next time you come through, you know, we'll get together.
Okay, for sure.
All right. So there's a question in the chat from White Panther Party Chairman Jake. What is one thing that happened with the party that we won't read in a history book? Also, what was Huey like as a person? Preferably something new that isn't well known.
Well, Huey was a person. Like I said, I was for one thing, and I'm putting a book, but I work with every member of the leadership party except for Eldridge Cleaver because he was expelled, and David Huey because he was in prison. So I work with Bobby Seale, Lane Brown, Huey. I had occasion I drove Huey on occasion. Huey was for one thing, he's the most fearless person I've ever met, and he was very he'd come by for breakfast and sit around and joke and laugh or whatever. But it was times that he was just like we had a club called the Lamppost, and he came in there a lot. So when I was a photographer, one way because every department had to raise their own money, whether it was selling papers or whatever. So the photography department, we had a club called the Lamppost. Well, we would go in there on Friday and Saturday and do Polaroid pictures, you know, $10 picture or whatever. Then after you had to sit around wait on your ride, and sometimes you would be there, and you would sit there and just talk to everybody, you know, and he would ask you questions, and you ask him questions, but other than that, he was very sharp. He was very, I mean, he didn't miss a thing. I mean, the first time I personally, I saw him, but it was a theater called the Fox Theater in downtown Oakland, and this guy was a white guy. He owned like 32 theaters, drive-ins, and so he let the party run the Fox Theater. This was a beautiful place. It sat about 2,500 people. It not only was a movie theater, it had an orchestra pit. It had uh, it had dressing rooms on stage because you could do shows. And so I was working there. John Seal, Bobby Seale's brother, was running it, and I was his assistant. And so the first time I really had interactions with Huey was he came in, and so I walked up to him. I said, "Hey, Comrade Huey, how you doing?" I shook his hand and everything. So he asked, "What was John Seal?" I said, "He's not here." He said, "Well, who's in charge?" I said, "I am." He said, "Well, come with me." So we walked around. One thing I remember him we had these stand up ashtrays, with the silver bowls on them. He said the next time he came there, he wanted white sand of those ashtrays, and we went to the bedroom. He said something. So anyway, his aide, we called it aides, but really bodyguard was Robert Bay. So Robert Bay pulled me to the side. He said, "Bunch, look, next time you see Huey, you don't call him Comrade Huey, you call him the servant." He said, "And the next time we come, make sure everything he told you is done." I'm like, "Okay." So I made sure everything was done, but uh, but he was very sharp. I mean, he like just like at the restaurant, he come in, he'd point out, well, you need to do this, you need to do that. But he had a sense of humor. I mean, he was, and that's the thing. People talk about the end, but you have to understand this man was one of the most hated people in the world by the government, by the police. I mean, he got away with killing a policeman and wounding another police. You know, I mean, they did all kinds of. The FBI had rented, and we found out this through according to the pro, the apartment next to this apartment, and they drilled a little tiny hole in the wall, and they stuck a microphone in there, so they could hear everything. So you know, uh, he was under a lot of pressure, and I mean, that's like even in the party, people, all this stuff, but a lot of times you got paranoid. I mean, think about Fred Hampton. His the security was working for the police. You know, helped to get murdered. So of course you had people you suspicious of a lot of things. You know what I mean? So and that's one of the things that their whole thing was to make you can't trust this person or who is that because they would put some. I remember Huey's Robert Bay. I remember he came to the car one day and it was an envelope on the car and it was $1,000 cash in the envelope and it was a note saying there's more from where this came from. In other words, if you come to us, you get this payout. So I mean, they tried whatever they could to try to, and a lot of times it worked to try to divide us and everything. But here he was, I could say he had a sense of humor and he moved fast. I mean, it's like when Huey came in the room, it might sound cliche. It was like a cat. He didn't just walk in the room; he swung into a room. He had a presence about him that everybody, he was handsome, strong, but like I say, he was very shy. He really didn't like to speak. Just like I was talking about the intercommunalism we had when we had the Revolutionary Constitution Convention in Philadelphia. He spoke, and a few years ago, I was in Washington D.C. This sister, she probably was in her 50s, so she said she was at the convention. She said, "I heard Huey speak." She said, "I didn't understand the goddamn thing he said." You know what I mean? Because Huey talked up here, and like he said, when he talked to people, he needed to come down here, and that's how they could break it down like a person. I mean, I mean, he'd break it down even he'd break it down to the street where a person in the street talk, where they could understand, and that's what you have to do. I mean, it's all good to be well, revolutionary this, revolutionary, the capital, but the average person on the street they don't understand what you're talking about until you break it down to where they're listening, and then you could it's just like I was in the back, Las Vegas. My brother, I remember I was at the polling place and they would so it was these two white I mean these older black women. He was in their wheelchairs and they talking, they said and they was just trying to decide who vote for. And so One of them said, well, we definitely can't vote for that Bernie Sanders. You know, he's a socialist. You know what I mean? My point is, they don't even understand what socialism is. So you have to teach them.
All power. So we have 2 more questions, and Comrade Joe, you have the floor.
Yeah, this isn't particularly a question to the elder comrade, but I wanted to say and I appreciate your time and stuff and coming on here to this afternoon. But one of the things I'm taking away with this conversation is being able to relate to the people so it's comprehensible and they can understand, because not everybody is supercalifragilistically intelligent. You know, sometimes you gotta shuck and jive with the shuck and jivers. You gotta be able to understand with one another. So like meeting the people where they're at, I think that's the most powerful key that I got out of the conversation today, and I want to appreciate that, because I'm a firm believer of that. You have to make your point across and make it understandable so that the masses can understand it. And sometimes when we get into too high of an education, then it don't make no sense to anybody anymore. So thank you for that, and thank you for your time, comrade. That's it. All power.
All power to people. But it's just like in church, what they call it, preaching to the choir. They already saved souls, so called. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you got to be able to, like they say, bring in the sheep or whatever. Yeah, you have to come down, come down to their level and something. Or right now, I mean, it's saying the dumbing down of America. You know, what's the most, especially in capitalism. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm saying I've never seen so many selfish people in my life. But why? It's because of this capitalist system. Because they put everything out there. You can go in the poorest community, like, and I've lived in Third Ward in Houston. You can go down what we call the bottom, where the poorest of the poor blacks live. Everybody got a big screen TV. They got an iPhone, or it's pacification, you know. And that's one thing that is hard to fight against that, because, like I say, I mean, that's what capitalists do. They throw money at everything. It's like when the thing with George Floyd happened. I have a friend of mine. In fact, he's sitting right here, and he asked me. He said, "Well, Bunchy, what you think gonna happen?" And I told him the same thing gonna happen. I was 13 when the watch riots happened. I never forget it. But what did the government do? They threw money at it. That's what capitalists do. They threw money out there in the community, and then you had black people fighting over all these. They spent these community development. You got this. Well, they trying to get this grant. They trying to get same thing happened with George Floyd. What happened? The corporation, Coca-Cola. Well, we're gonna give $1 million to the NAACP and the Urban League and the Black Lives Matter. They don't come in the community and say, well, we're going to give money to, like we have Sheep Center here, been here for 50-something years, that serves the community. They're not going to do that. You know, they give the people, I mean, people in the community don't know who the hell NAACP is. If you ask one of these young folks, what do you think about the NAACP? They probably say, what is that, a new rap group? They don't, because they're not active. It's not my father's NAACP. It's not my grandfather's NAACP that were active. It's a social club. If you want to find them, you go, like here, every year they have a big banquet down at the Hotel Americas, the most expensive hotel in Houston, a scholarship banquet, and that's where you'll find them. You know, I call it fluff. You find these organizations where we're gonna give out turkeys for Thanksgiving, and then we're gonna give out bikes and toys for Christmas. What about the rest of the year? You know, it's nothing but fluff. You ain't doing nothing. You putting band-aids on the problem because you don't want to admit the problem, because you've become a part of the problem. Betty Bush, you've become a part of the problem. You know, there's a lot of people say they fight the system. They don't even realize they become a part of the system. You know, they're not going to give up their cars and their houses, and that's why they pity bourgeois. It was what sister put on there. Well, you need to leave the bourgeois alone because everybody wants to have. Like, Right. There ain't nothing wrong with want to have nice things. But for one thing, ain't no black person bourgeois. That's the ruling class. You petty bourgeois. You might have a nice car and a house, but I bet you paying a note on that. Ask Kanye West. They showed him. You talking shit. He went from a billionaire to a 400,000. It was something, but the faction nothing. Puff Daddy, they came out Ciroc vodka. Oh, Puff Daddy got his own. No, he don't manufacture that. He don't. Captain, he put that illusion out there. I was talking to a comrade yesterday. His name is William Cordova. Beautiful artist. He does a lot of stuff. When comrades pass away, he'll do the posters and stuff. Like I was telling him else. I remember years ago, they used to have these these pictures of, and they put a carrot out in front of it, but that duck move trying to get that carrot. They ain't even gonna get, and that's what they do to us. They got this carrot out there, and you think you're gonna get it. You put all your heart and soul in it, and a lot of people do that. That's why you got mental illness because it don't happen. I mean, this system, they don't care about people. Shouldn't be no homeless. We're supposed to live in the greatest country in the world, and you got homeless people, and you don't want to. But yeah, I'm preaching to the choir now, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I was gonna say I usually go out there to Houston and visit the Second Ward area of Houston. So when next time I'm out there, I'm gonna look you up, Comrade. See if we can put some boots on the ground, or at least share some words. Thank you.
Yeah, my comrade Zulu, you can give my number and yeah, definitely give me a call. Like I said, it's Brown Beret group here. And they call it the Tay House.
Yeah, South Texas Brown. But Willie, I'm very
Willie Rodriguez. Yeah, we real close. Like I said, last time we had an event, he came and spoke, and some of some of his sisters they spoke, and so we're real close.
Yeah, I'm in strong contact with them. So maybe we could chop it up later. Let me get off so let anybody else want to speak. But anyway, thank you for your time, Comrade Bunchy.
Yes. Yeah, of course.
All right, and we'll close it out with the final question from the Secretary of Intercommunal Relations, Gabby.
All revolutionary love and power. It's a pleasure to meet you, Comrade John. As Comrade Rob said, I'm the Secretary of Intercommunal Relations, and my question is, how are there better ways today to meet the people at their level on where they're at, and what are some comparisons of how the Black Panthers did back in their day, and what we can do now that that applies to our current concrete conditions? All of them power.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I tell a lot of social media is great. It's fast, but it only goes to a certain circle. It's like a lot of times I go to events and I see the same people because that's all you're doing. You put it out on social media. You have to get out and you have to meet the people. I mean, that's what grassroots organizing is about. I mean, on all levels, we used to even like when we had an event here. We took some regular paper, put whatever the event was on two, and we cut it in half, so then we got double, and then go and hand it out and talk to people. It's just like the Jehovah's Witness, and I mentioned them earlier. I respect them a lot. I don't believe what they're talking about, but you see them in the street.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I said, and I've been seeing them since they knock on doors. There were two sisters that when my son was in high school, I used to take him to school every morning, and there's a store used to have, they used to sell tacos and stuff like that, and they would be, I'm talking about 6 in the morning, and they'd be out there every morning sitting in the car. I mean, one time I didn't see them for a while, and I told them I was worried about them, but they get out there because you gotta touch the flesh, you gotta see people, you gotta. We would go. I mean, not just. I mean, in front of stores, in front of wherever people gathering, and hand information out and talk to people, and because then they can understand. And like I say, social media is great, but it only reaches X amount of people.
Right.
You know, it's. I mean, it's. I mean, we used to, just like our it's a film come up, just like I said. I mean, even with all our programs, people didn't have to come to us with sickle cell anemia. Black Panther Party was first exposed to sickle cell anemia. People didn't know about sickle cell anemia that affected primary Black people, and we started testing for it. But you didn't have to come to us. We'd be in front of a Kmart or a store, or we go to apartments or the projects. We tested everywhere. Somebody having a rally, we'd be out there, testing. You have to go to the people. And just like what most of our programs, I mean, I just like doing the campaign, like I said, when I was in photography, when Bobby Seale for mayor and Elaine Brown for city council, we get up at 5:36 in the morning. So in Oakland, you had East 14th Street. It's changed the name to International now, but it go from all the way to the hundreds, all the way to downtown. What we do, we get on the bus stop, we get on the bus, comrades would get on first, they walk down the aisles handing out information. Then Bobby Seale and Lane get on, and Bobby would say, "Hey, I'm Bobby Seale. This is Lane Brown. I'm running for mayor. She's going blah, 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 blah." Then three stops down, we get off and wait on the next bus. And we did that all the way till it got downtown, And it was effective because, I mean, really, we shocked ourselves because Bobby Seale got 40% of the vote. And this mayor had been in office for 16 years, had never been in a runoff. It shocked the hell out of everybody. Here's this Black Panther. Damn, they made him mayor. But we had a grassroots organization. We met the people, we talked to the people, and that's. I mean, today I don't know if people everybody just stuck on the computer, phone, or whatever. But you have to get out and you have to meet the people and you have to talk to the people. And that's why I say, just like we didn't wear a uniform, and those people, we go up to people and, hey, I'm just like you. I came from the community like you. I mean, that's what we were. I mean, we had mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, uncles, aunts, and stuff like that. We were just a bunch of young people who were sick and tired of being sick and tired. Who was willing to put our lives on the line. I didn't think I was going to live to be 21. And when I say that, I'm serious. I went to jail numerous times, so you have to have that. And I mean, were you scared? Yeah, of course. Yeah, I've been in buildings surrounded by police. They got their gun, they behind cars, got guns. I remember I was upstairs and I peeked out the window. And, oh, there go one up there. But the thing, are you scared? Yeah. But you suck it up. Well, here you go. If it go, it go. Of course, they backed off. They told us we had 10 seconds to come out the house. They counted down from 10. And we didn't come out, and they left. So it took dedication and took. And I have people. My father was a doctor. My mother was a school teacher. I had a guy ask me a year ago once, and he said, "Man, your mother was a doctor, and your father. How the hell did you become a Black Panther?" But one of them, because I was brought up by a mother and father, even though they always cared about the community. They give you the shirt off their back, And then I grew up during the time, grew up through the civil rights movement, the Black Power movement. So all that weighed in. But I could say it's old saying said, "Many are called, but few show up." So we were the few that showed up.
All power.
All right. So
like I say, I appreciate all y'all, because like I say, it wasn't for people to keep going, and you're gonna make mistakes and you're gonna learn. And like I say, one of the things you need to read is the 4 essays of Mao Zedong, and then France Fanon, The Wretched of the Earth, and Karl Marx, like I say, it's a hard read. You might have, but it's because with Carl, for one thing, just like Jesus Christ wasn't a Christian, Karl Marx wasn't a Marxist. You know, he wrote the book, and what it basically does, it breaks down what the capitalist society system is about. You know, supply and demand. The whole if like it said in the book, you know, in order for it to have somebody at the top, you're gonna have somebody at the bottom. You know, and that's the way it is. They don't give a damn. They got 400-foot yachts and all that shit and a bunch of houses, and they don't care about us. And even a lot of
All
these,
power.
I'm get up. I'm just saying this one thing about these entertainers, because Malcolm talked about it, entertainers. People. Oh, what's on? These one of the things what pisses me off is you got people like 50 Cent, P Diddy, Snoop Dogg. 50 Cent on stage with goddamn bulletproof vests and the G unit got bulletproof vests on and bullet straps on, telling our young men to kill each other and talking degrading to our woman. And now what are they doing? They hanging out in the Hamptons, and Snoop Dogg hanging out with Martha Stewart, and people like Rick Ross. They don't. I saw a thing, Rick Ross, so he gives $30,000 to this school to save they building something. 2 weeks later, he got a $3 million watch. A watch for $3 million. See, it took 2 years to make because of all the emeralds and jewels and stuff like that. So they're full of bullshit, and people worship them.
All power. I want to thank you one more time for giving us your time tonight. It really means a lot. This has been an awesome conversation. I would like to, for the first time during the ceremony tonight, to introduce the Secretary of Education for the UPM, Comrade Shanti, if you have anything to say. Where is she? She must be unable to talk right now. Okay. Well, anyway, I wanted to thank you again for giving us your time tonight. It's been a great conversation. I mean, I've learned a lot from it. I'm sure that the students have as well.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. If y'all ever want to reach out to me, my email address is bunchyc00@gmail.com. That's BUNCHYC00@gmail.com. If you reach out, I'll respond. And or if you want to know anything else about my background, you can go to any of your sources, Google or whatever, and it's John Bunchy Crear. If you punch that in, all my information will pop up.
I will text you, Conrad. I'll keep in contact with you. I'll give you a text because I'll be coming back to Houston. All right. Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
I
it'd be good to see you.
All power.
All right. And so all power to people, everybody. And like I said, if you want to reach out, you're all welcome.
All power to all the people.
All power to the people.
Thank you.
All power to
All
the
power.
people.
All power to the people.
All power.
Oh.
All right. Let's see. Did Chairman Jake want to say anything to the graduates?
Yes, I did, just briefly. I wanted to quickly elaborate on this concept that Chairman Shaka was talking about, dual power. There's a book, I forget what this book is called. I can look this up and figure it out if anybody's interested in reading it, but it was a firsthand account of the way the Bolsheviks operated during the Russian Revolution. This is a period of time where the provisional government was in power. This is essentially a Democrat group that was taking power in place of the czar. Their mission as the provisional government was to try to meet the needs of the people. So, like, for example, they would send barges down the Volga River with supplies for peasants and things like that. Well, to get a shipment of supplies, it took oftentimes up to 4 weeks for a barge to get to a village when it wasn't very far away. They had to do all these bureaucratic things like filling out forms, etc. The Bolsheviks were already in these villages, and they were able to get these supplies down the river from their network much quicker, within a week's time, sometimes less than that. And it was through activities like that that they were able to win the minds and the will of the masses toward coming to power. That is similar to what we have to do. Survival programs need to become these kinds of networks. That's what dual power is. It's taking advantage of a situation that the government has allowed to come into place, such as, for example, people starving, needing food. That's something that we have here in this country, right? And all the hurdles with things like EBT and getting any kind of benefits or whatever it is, right? Us stepping into the picture and saying, no, we can do that for cheaper and quicker and give you education to free yourself in the process. And it's through that we can organize people to try to make a world a better place and to build up a revolutionary movement. So I just wanted to add that in historical perspective for building dual power. All power.
All power.
All power to the people.
All power.
All power, all power.
All right,
power.
I'm going to try to introduce our Secretary of Education one more time. Shanti, would you like to speak?
Yes. I am in the library right now, so don't mind the background noise, but I'm just really, really, really grateful for all the students who are graduating tonight. This is probably the strongest group of new cadre that I think we've seen in a pretty long time. It's been years building this mass organization up, and the fact that we have 6 to 7 to 8 new cadre graduating tonight is definitely an indicator that we are moving in the right direction. And with the 9 of y'all that are graduating tonight, I just want to thank y'all for putting in the time and the dedication and the putting in the sharpening of your consciousness to this very moment. I want to give a little bit more info on our school. Once again, this is a mass org. So we will be giving political education for new prospects, new cadre, anyone who's interested in joining our org. Right now, we are in case any of y'all don't know, we're in the process of building Pantherism 102, which will be going under, which will be a higher stage of Pantherism 101, discussing about the manual, the UPM manual. So, the 3 Ps, our committee structure, how to do social investigation, all that good stuff. And we'll also be adding a historical element to this. So we'll also be discussing about the history of class struggle in Abya, which is the so-called Americas, the history of class struggle in Africa, the history of class struggle in Asia and Oceania, and other colonized and imperialized parts of the world, because we are internationalists and we want to be sure that every one of our comrades around the world has a voice in this conversation. And it also comes into the decolonization aspect, which we'll touch on in the 102 course, and how to apply decolonization into doing social investigation and doing our survival program. So that is essentially a taste of what we're doing with this school, is to help bring out the revolutionary consciousness of the masses, of the people, by, learning what imperialism is, learning what all of these things that make up capitalist imperialism is. These are stages. You have colonialism, capitalism, imperialism, and neocolonialism, which has affected the way we live, how our ecosystems operate, as we're seeing right now with the current climate crisis, made possible by our tax dollars and the Fortune 500 folks. That is something that we will be discussing in the course, and is the main purpose of our school, is to educate the masses and to build them up in the context of creating a united front against capitalist imperialism, against racism, and against repression. So yeah, really looking forward to the 102 class, and hope you are too, in the next 6 to 7 weeks or so. But with all of that out the way, we want to introduce our valedictorian for this new group of cadre with us, William. I don't think he's here tonight.
I am here.
Oh, okay.
I just didn't have anything prepared, and I'm kind of, like I said, I'm sick right now. I broke like the cartilage, like the muscle of my thumb.
Okay.
And
It's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. Do you have anything to say, if you have anything?
Like I said, not really right now, just because I've been really tired, but all power to the people, and yeah.
All power to the people.
All power.
All power.
That's
to the people.
Totally
All power,
okay.
all power. Totally
I
okay.
do want to take this moment to congratulate you. You, on your exam, you got all 20 questions right, and you got both bonus points. So,
there were 3, but
you what?
I thought I had 3, but maybe I misremembered that.
Maybe
Okay.
it was 3 bonus points. I don't even remember anymore. But the point is that nobody else accomplished that. And that's awesome. And we're glad to see you here. We're glad to see you getting involved with the UPM. And I hope you feel better soon.
Yeah, thanks.
All power, all power.
Next, we have a couple of honorable mentions that were very, very close to the same level as William, but I want to shout out PantherQueen and Danny. You both did well. To be honest, everybody did very well on their exams, right? Like, we had planned on a cutoff being about 80% for pass or fail, and everybody was over 90%. But the honorable mentions here were also over 100% because of bonus points. So PantherQueen, Danny, if either of you want to say anything, feel free. But congratulations and welcome to the UPM.
Thank you.
All
I appreciate
power.
you guys.
All power. Thank you all.
All power.
See, I'm
All power.
You guys
all
already know
power.
I was born a Panther, so let's do this.
All power. There you go.
Right on.
I'm sorry, what were you saying, Danny?
Just very appreciative, very stoked to be working with the UPM. I've been following the UPM and the New African Black Panther Party for a while, and I'm just very excited to finally be taking a part in it. All power.
All power.
All power.
All power,
All
all
power.
power.
I know he had to leave, so he will not be speaking tonight as originally intended, but actually he's entering the room right now. Maybe Comrade James will want to speak, but Chairman Shaka, would you like to introduce the new captain?
All power to the people. All power to the people. There's very little that I have to say about this new captain. I'm very enthusiastic about him. He has that zest, that enthusiasm, and that drive that John Crear talked about, where he said that they would get on the bus and the comrades would first give out the literature, whether it's a 10-point program, and then Bobby would get on the bus and talk. And they would get off 3 blocks down. I think Captain James has that spirit. When he interact with the comrades as the captain, they love him. There's a smooth relationship, unlike the previous reactionary captain we had. We have someone now that the whole rank and file across the board enjoys spending time to. So I want to give him the floor, Captain, and allow you to speak to the comrades, and thank you for completing your essay as well. All power to the people.
All power to the people. I just want to first say thank you for the opportunity of being the captain of the Newark chapter of the New African Black Panther Party. I also want to thank the elders that I've been under their tutelage with the political education classes. And I also want to give great thanks to Brother Comrade John Greer for his efforts and the work that he's done in the original Black Panther Party. And he said a lot of great things this evening and gave a lot of useful information. And as far as my fellow graduates that are graduating with me, just in the chats and in the groups, there is a large wealth of intellectual capability there. And to the valedictorian and the co-valedictorian, you are in those positions and spots because you stand out. And that's what revolutionaries are called to do. They're to stand out amongst the masses and organize and rally the masses. You have taken the step and the journey and chose a life of revolutionary fighting and revolutionary struggle. We are freedom fighters. We are here for liberation and to help liberate the oppressed people. And how so to do so is through raising the consciousness and making them aware. And as well as Brother Comrade John said, you have to meet the people where they are. We cannot get caught up in the symbolism of revolutionary struggle. We can't get caught up with the rhetoric of revolutionary struggle. We have to apply action to what we have learned from the elders that was doing our political education classes, and like Chairman Shaka and the other comrades that's here, we can learn from each other. It will take unity to overcome the oppression that we are against, the foot that is on our neck. We have to be boots on the ground. We can't just stand by and take this information that we have learned and done nothing with it, because then it makes the efforts like of Brother Comrade John Greer and Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale and all the other elders that we learn from and we study, it'll be for naught. And I have a revolutionary spirit, and I'm so proud and so happy to be in a class with others that have revolutionary spirit and revolutionary pride. And we share in this Pantherism and Panther love that will uplift, that will teach, that will liberate, that will educate, that will feed, that will clothe, that will house the masses, that every need will be met by the people and for the people. And we have to keep in mind that we have been in these last few weeks, we have been in a period of observation. So now we have to go into participation. And in participating is like Brother Comrade John Crear was saying, that you have to get out there and meet the people. You have to be where the people are. You can't stand behind a computer if you're able, be out there and touch the flesh of the people. Ask the questions that are not being asked. Try to give the answers that are not being given by these so-called political figures in these communities, whether they be aldermen, councilmen, mayors, or what have you. We have the key, which is Pantherism. We have the key, which is the United Panther Movement and the New African Black Panther Party, to liberate not only ourselves and our family and our bloodline, but all across the world, the people that shares in the plight that we share in. We are Palestine. We are Haiti. We are being oppressed in the same way. It just may look a little different, but the tactics are the same. So once we graduate, we didn't just getting a diploma. We're getting revolutionary spirit. We're getting revolutionary education. We're being equipped with more tools than just the gun to get out here and do the work that needs to be done. So in closing, I just want to say I thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. The revolution will not be televised. Revolution is on the brink, and we have to stand firm and stand true to our values, our code of conduct, and our principles. Do not get lost and short-sighted with short-term goals. Don't get caught with self-indulgence and raising yourself to be exalted higher than who you are, because that's easy to do in this walk of in this life that we have chosen. And just know that we are revolutionaries. We are the people. We are the masses. But first and foremost, we are the vanguard. All power to the people.
All power to the
power to
people.
the people.
All power to the people. All power to the people.
All power.
All power to the people.
All power, Captain. All power.
All power to the people. So now I want to bring Shanti back up, and the way that I'm thinking that we do this is she's gonna introduce the graduates, and as your name is read, if you would like to say something brief, whether it's about the school or about the conversations we've had tonight, you're free to do so. But first I want to hand it over to Shanti.
All power to the people. Yeah, we just had PantherQueen, Danny, William, and James, and just wow. I would like to also congratulate the other strong cadre that are graduating tonight, because this also will not be possible without them. Bree, Whitney, who else? Joe, Puds, and Tracy. I want to say just thank you. Just thank you for coming here, being here, and actually being serious about the struggle, because, you know, we are in the height of everything right now. And the fact that we have more folks in our ranks is just a blessing to us. To everyone that is working in this org, Chairman Zulu, Minister Zen, Rob, Chairman Jake, everybody, just thank you. Yeah, all power.
All power. That was beautiful. Thank you for that, Shanti. All power. That was beautiful.
All power.
All power.
All power.
All power.
Isn't everything Shanti says beautiful?
Word,
Right.
Pretty much.
Facts.
I do want to go through this list of names and give everyone who hasn't spoken yet a chance to say something.
But hey, Rob, do this just for sake of time and brevity. Go through what the students are going to receive, and stuff like that, and then allow them to speak. So that way we could at least, for the sake of time, get that part out there, the diploma, the red book, and the shirt, and how they could get that, Minister Rob. And then we
Yeah,
could go
yeah.
to the
I
other
mean,
part.
I was just gonna give the graduates an opportunity to say something brief and then do
Oh,
that
okay, go ahead.
and then cut the recording.
All
Is
right, go
where I
ahead.
was
All
at.
power. You good.
William spoke. PantherQueen, do you want to say anything about the course or about getting involved in the UPM? All power. How about Danny? Actually, Danny already talked. How about Tracy? Sorry.
Okay. I just want to say all power and thank you for the opportunity of taking this class and also the opportunity to join the UPM and able to do some revolutionary activities. And I appreciate your time, your assistance, and the cooperation in helping me becoming more than I was. Yes. Thank you very much.
All power.
All
Comrade
power.
Joe.
All power.
All power.
Power.
Yes, I wanted to be also thankful for everybody's time this afternoon, and you know, the family feeling of revolutionary love throughout our meetings and then beyond with our personal conversations and stuff. And I've already reached out to the comrade Bunchy. We'll be chopping it up. He's busy with family right now, so we'll be chopping it up tomorrow and seeing what we could do as far as boots in the ground there in Houston. And we're talking about the intercommunal committee. If that's something y'all need help with, being that that's one of the things the strengths that I have, I'm willing to help out with that also. So anyway, revolutionary love and all power to the people, comrades.
All power to the
brethren.
people.
All power
All
to the
power.
All power to the
All
people.
Power.
Comrade
all
Bree,
power.
do you want
All
to say
power.
anything?
Yeah, I just want to thank all you guys for providing the space to learn together and from each other. And I look forward to overthrowing the system with you all. And yeah, I'm just really grateful to be here and to just hold space and hold love with each other. It's like really beautiful to have a safe space where we can all come together and just shit on the system and also build on what we can do to overcome our day-to-day struggles. So yeah, just big love for all of you. Excited for what's to come.
All power. All power.
All power.
Love and solidarity, Les.
Matter of fact, you know what? You know what? Minister Zen, you on a call, right?
Yep.
She's out there with you. Bree is out there in Vegas with you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Oh.
y'all can link up, comrades, and yeah, y'all can link up after this. She right out there with you. But
Oh,
go
word?
ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll message you, Bree.
Sorry, what
All
was that?
power.
I said I'll message you.
Oh, sounds
Yeah.
good. Sounds good. All power.
All power.
All power.
All
Cortez,
power.
do you want to say anything? Okay,
He said his
said
mic
in the
not
chat.
working.
Yeah, he said in the chat, my mic is not working, but thank each and every one of you, each and every one of my comrades, all those that took the time and patience while I was at work and taking the exam, and Minister Zen, and I think he's referring to me, but it says chairman. I'm Minister of Education, just for the record. But yeah, he took his exam today while he was at work. So, I mean, that's exactly the kind of dedication that we need, coming into this. And it was no problem being patient for it because you actually took the time to do it. Right. Marty, do you have anything to say?
Hey, thanks. All power. Not a whole lot. I just wanted to mention, United Tom Watts, rest in power. When I got the news about Tom dying, I kind of, it was a very motivating thing for me. I kind of woke up and had a decision to make whether I was going to sulk away for like having not reached out to him or whether I was going to take it as a don't mourn organized thing. And that's why I got back involved more heavily. And yeah, going forward, glad to be here. Thank you.
Hey,
All power.
All power, all power.
That was beautifully said. Yeah.
Word.
I see a couple people have their hands up. I will get to you in just a moment, but I wanted to discuss, as Shaka brought up, the things that you will be receiving if you want them. Ultimately, the UPM cannot currently afford to cover the expenses, but we'll do it at cost. Obviously, we're not trying to make money off of this, but a framed diploma, which I'm sure Comrade Zen can throw a picture of the diploma in the chat, a UPM t-shirt, and the little red book. Comrade Shaka, if you want to say a few words on that.
Well, I mean, nothing beyond that. I think the comrades are going to, I don't know how they're going to charge, but the only charge we're going to have is shipping and handling. And I don't know how the education committee is going to work that out, or the UPM secretariat, Shanti, but we want to do it at a minimal cost, and we want to turn this into a national program. So this is just the beginning, and I'm proud. I don't know what to say. I'm like Shanti. I'm dumbfounded because we went through so much. I mean, we was backdoored. We was kicked in the back. People try to tear us apart, COINTELPRO, and we stood the test of time. So I'm just happy and excited that we got a new group of comrades that could join their comrades on the ground in the cities where they from. And incidentally, Comrade Cortez, you're in the state with PantherQueen. Both of y'all are in Tennessee, so y'all should hook up with one another as well. All power to the people.
Minister of Information of the White Panther Party is also in Tennessee.
Oh, wow. So that's 3 right there. Wow.
That's what I'm saying. So, things are really starting to come together, and it's really...
Yeah, I need their information, and I'll definitely reach out to them.
All right. After the recording is done, we'll discuss that.
Okay.
But yeah. All right. I think that's... I mean, just to take us out of the recording anyway, we're going to discuss with all the graduates that are in here what committee or committees in the UPM they would like to organize with. We're going to take down your thoughts, and just like Chairman Shaka is doing right now, we're going to try to figure out who is close enough to work with each other. Right? So we'll do that, obviously, after the live stream is done, which... I mean, does anybody want to make any closing statements? One of the chairmen or Shanti? Or I know that William had his hand up. William was the valedictorian. If he wants to say the closing statements, that's totally fine by me. But on my end, I just want to say congratulations again.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, in response, that is the reason I'm here, same with PUDs, is because I knew Tom very personally. We both did. Like, I actually had his phone number and stuff. I would call him up and everything, like close friends. I almost lived with him years ago, but circumstances didn't come to that. Like Nassim, it was suggested Nassim, old comrade of ours before he passed away. But suddenly it was just an idea brought up, among other things, like really close to town. And so me coming here was kind of one of the initial motivations was partially mourning Tom, and kind of a duty I felt to fill the void that try to fill the void that his loss opened. No, all power.
All power to the people.
All power, all power.
All power, love and solidarity.
All power.
All power.
Chairman Shaka, do you want to make a brief closing statement, or just cut off the recording here?
No, I'm good. Just all power to the people, Panther love, and I'm going to be coming to those states to sit down and talk with those comrades that have multiple comrades, because we're going to get those UPMs up and running, especially in Tennessee and Texas So in the future, that's what I'm going to be doing. Just congratulations again. We got a whole world to win. All power to the people.
It's time to seize this. Time to seize the time. That was redundant.
Exactly.
Time to seize the time.
Seize the revolution.
Word.
All power to the people.
All
All
power.
power.
All
Panther
power to the
love,
people.
y'all.
All right,